Hey guys, it's Joshua Reviews. Oh man, you guys in for a treat today. Guys, we're gonna be talking about a Christmas... What? Wait, what'd you say? Oh. We're not talking about a Christmas story, we're talking about a Christmas horror story. I got the movies mixed up. I'm saving this for Christmas. And its sequel, which we'll talk about on Christmas Day. Anyways, Christmas Horror Story. I've talked about this movie before. It was either 2019 or 2020. That was the year I decided to review Good Time for my Christmas special. Not even a Christmas movie. Anyways, so yeah, Christmas Horror Story. This has no relevance to Christmas Story. I just thought it was, I was doing a bit. I apologize in advance. Anyways, so Christmas Horror Story. This is a Christmas horror anthology. Not a lot of Christmas horror anthologies. I think there's only like 3 ones that I know about. Deathcember, which I haven't looked at yet. This movie and Christmas Tapes, which I found a lot of enjoyment out of that one. It was weird, but I liked it. Had Greg Sestero in it, and he was great in the movie. And your boy Doofy from Scary Movie, he was in it, and he was the best part of the film. Anyways, off track. But talking about people who are in certain movies, Captain Kirk is in this movie. Yeah. William Shatner. That's his name, right? Yeah, William Shatner. And I'm bad at names, I apologize. Yeah, so none other than Captain Kirk is in this movie. He is the radio DJ narrator who narrates all the stories. We kind of cut back and forth between him, and there's like 5 different stories going on. Wait, is it 4 or 5? Anyways, we got first story. I'll talk about them individually, but unlike most horror anthologies, these ones kind of cut in and out between the stories, which is actually something I kind of liked about this movie. Whereas in other horror anthologies, they'll do one segment to the next. This one, it cuts in between, and it all kind of wraps up pretty good. So before I talk about the individual segments, I'll say this film is well-paced, surprisingly. That can be pretty tricky with some horror anthologies. The worst example is VHS Viral, which, again, I might cover the franchise at some point because I looked at Halloween in October. But yeah, this was interesting how they decided to splice the segments, like cut back and forth between them. That was something that was refreshing and I kind of dug. So anyways, let's get into it. So the first segment, I don't think they're named in this one, but the first segment we get introduced to these teenagers who are going into a school late at night on Christmas Eve to film, supposedly. They're doing like a documentary for their school project, and it involves a ghost and it was based off of this murder that happened like a year ago. And the officer who who was like doing the investigation in the crime scene of the murder, he went insane and is in recovery. So the kids decide to explore the school, and they get accidentally locked up in the basement when the ghost comes back and tries to reclaim some more victims. This one was interesting. It wasn't, I gotta be honest, it was probably the one segment that felt the least like Christmas, if that makes sense. Like it felt less like Christmas the most, whereas all the other segments had some sort of Christmas theme or Christmas like relevancy. This one was just kind of like, eh. But that being said, I actually really enjoyed this. I surprisingly liked all 3 of our characters. The only character name that I remember is Ryan. Ryan was cool, and the other 2 characters were cool, that being the girl and the other guy. I found all of them likable, and they worked well off each other. There's a moment I like where we get introduced early on that this guy has a girlfriend, and she's actually one of the characters in the other segments, which is something I like about this movie. Kind of want to pause a little bit on the segment. Trick or Treat. You guys are familiar with Trick or Treat? One of the things I like about that movie is how it'll have characters from one segment kind of make an appearance in one of the other segments. They do that here, and I really like that. Anyways, back to the segment. the daughter in one segment is seen here. She's the one who gives our film crew the keys to the school, and she kisses I say kiss. They make out in front of the other two characters, and later on, don't ask, when the girl gets possessed, she starts to unzip his pants, about to give him a BJ. And one of the little things I like, because typically in horror movies, we have, these dumb male perverted characters who are just like, oh yeah, come on, bring it. But he's like, whoa, I have a girlfriend. I like that. That makes the character more feel real. I like that. I like how he's loyal to his girlfriend. Just no minor detail. Oh shit! Heard a police siren. They're going to the mall. That's where Santa is. Talk about that later. Anyways, but I actually really liked the segment. There was a fair amount of creepy moments. There was a few jump scares that got me, and overall, even though it's not really Christmassy, it had a pretty good eerie vibe. I liked it. I would give it a solid B. It was enjoyable. Not too many stupid decisions. Cinematography was good. Cinematography in this movie is really good. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the next segment, the Krampus segment. I'm gonna be honest. This segment I enjoyed the least. It was fine, but I found myself not really caring for any of the characters that much. It's a family. This is the one where the girlfriend is introduced in the first segment. They're going on this road trip, this 4-hour mountain drive to go visit some relatives because the dad of the family wants to get some sort of money inheritance or whatever because they're broke. And the one kid is an annoying little shit and decides to knock over a Krampus statue, and Krampus just attacks them. They crash their car into the woods, and they're running in the snow from Krampus, and Krampus looked pretty damn decent. This is probably the most accurate he looked to the original character that he's based off. I mean, it's Krampus, but from all the Krampus movies, and there's a reason I'm reviewing this after those, because it had Krampus in it. Anyways, you guys get what I'm saying. But Krampus looked the most like Krampus in this movie. I love Krampus 2015, but all due respect, he does not look like his counterpart, all right? This is the most accurate goat Krampus depiction I've seen. Krampus the Reckoning was close, but that being said, they do change some things. He's pale white. I mean, you can see on the cover what he looks like, and surprisingly, this cover is not a lie, but we'll get into that in a bit. But this segment, for the most part, was just kind of It's just the family running through the woods. It's probably the shortest segment. I'd say it's maybe 6-7 minutes, maybe longer. I just realized what I said. I'm gonna ignore it. But it's probably the shortest segment, and honestly, I did not really care for the characters that much. It wasn't boring. It was because it's the shortest. It didn't last as long because they kept cutting back and forth, but I could tell whoa, this was a short segment. Okay, I could see why I didn't cut back to it that much. And yeah, it was okay. I mean, the end twist I thought was cool, but it's not Krampus. It's not part of the lore. They completely make up their own Krampus lore, which I found funny. But it was okay. I'd give it a C+. Characters were just kind of whatever. Nothing really stood out about them. There's a nice character moment they have in a church, but then that gets interrupted by Krampus, and it's just oh, okay, I guess we weren't going to go into character development, which is... the other segment is probably my favorite. Actually, no, these next two segments are absolutely my favorite. The next segment, we follow the cop from the investigation from the first segment. He explored the school when the murders happened, which I like that detail. He spending time with his family because oh my God, what's the term? He was whatever. He was basically just taking a year off. He's ready to spend Christmas with his family again, and they go to this restricted area in the woods to look for a pine tree or a Christmas tree or whatever, and they find this restricted area, and they find the perfect tree, right? But then their son gets lost, and when he comes back, he acts kind of off, and you just know something happened to him, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And, they get home and they're trying to celebrate, and the kid's eating a lot. He's not saying a word, and they're like, what is going on with him? And the dad kind of gets a little bit abusive, not like physical, but more just kind of like, you know, starts like saying, hey, what the hell is wrong with you? You know, he starts cursing at his son, and you're like, kind of some interesting implications. But I like the fact that, you know, throughout this segment, you kind of see this more human side to him. Like, you know, he realizes what he's saying is messed up, and he's like, oh man, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get through the holidays, right? And his wife is like, you know, like, you're drunk. And you know, I believe it. Surprisingly, when relationships like this happen in movies, it's not believable, but this relationship I actually found pretty believable. I like all the characters pretty much in this movie besides the Krampus segment. That one was just kind of but this one I probably think is the best segment because of what they do with the concept. I like how it's revealed. I mean, this is a slight spoiler, how this thing is not, it's obviously not their son, but there's some creepy moments with this child, and credit to where credit's due. That kid is a pretty creepy kid actor, and it's revealed that this kid is like a changeling, which I don't know if that's, I've heard of a changeling before, but I don't know the actual like lore or mythos behind it, but I knew enough that I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, they're doing that mythos, and I thought it was handled very well. I also really liked the ending. The ending to the segment was very conclusive, and I liked it. I think I liked all the endings to these segments. Most horror movie anthologies have pretty downer, just kind of dumb endings, but dumb. I don't know what I'm saying, guys. This is why I need to script my reviews better. But yeah. Most anthologies just kind of have downer endings, but this one actually had a pretty uplifting ending. Most of the segments in this movie do. Well, I'd say half of the segments have upbeat endings. So that's like 4. Yeah, there's like, I thought there was like 5 segments, but there's 4. So this one actually turned out being my favorite. I liked the characters. Had a great Christmas atmosphere. I liked it. You know, presents in the background, Christmas lights. I love that. By the way, anytime I mention Christmas lights, I'm always talking about those multicolored lights. None of that red, none of that blue or white Christmas lights. Multicolored, bro. Multicolored is the way to go. Anyways, I'm gonna give this segment I'm gonna give it an A-. I enjoyed this one. The next segment, the last segment, is fucking wild. And that one might actually be the best, but I think this one, like in terms of characters, was way better. But this one, basically, we follow Santa during an elf zombie breakout, and this one was epic. Santa, the actor they have for Santa is great, and I don't want to spoil too much, but the elves are wild, and I love it. Basically, take the elves from the movie Elf, and with Will Ferrell, and have them curse in this Alvin and the Chipmunk-like voice. And he's just kicking elves, he's slicing and dicing their heads off and limbs, and it's hilarious. And then he fucking fights Krampus in the end. But there's a twist that when I first watched this movie in 2019, I wasn't big a fan of it. But then when I was rewatching, I was like, this is actually kind of a dope twist. I like this. It's basically, you thought I was gonna say it, but no, this segment is pretty short, but I surprisingly enjoyed it. It was this segment was a lot of fun. I'm gonna give this one an A- as well. So all in all, I had a surprisingly good time with this movie. I remember when I watched it, I liked it, but I didn't like love it. But this was surprisingly a lot better on rewatch. I was surprised with how much I enjoyed it. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this movie a solid B+. It's not, you know, it's not the greatest movie ever made. I think that some of the segments could have had more like Christmas themes, like this, besides the Santa Krampus one. The ghost one, you could have like done something like more Christmassy with it, but that's more of a nitpick. But I just noticed it while watching. I was like, okay, you could have done more Christmassy stuff with that, but no matter. Anyways, guys, so we're done with all these Krampus movies. I mean, this doesn't count, but has Krampus in it, so we're done with all that. So now we're gonna go ahead and take a look at well, I don't want to say it, but we're gonna take a look at something very interesting. So you guys will have to stay tuned for that. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Oh yeah, water bottle.